All right, let's check the sound. Looks like we got sound from the microphone. No sound from the computer. Add here. Let me turn this overdrive thing back off. Really need this anymore. Okay. All right. I think we're actually ready. Got no sound still from the speakers. That up. Keep an eye over here if anybody else is popping in Discord for these. So I'm jumping in kind of where I picking up where I left off yesterday on typing PRs is what we did a bunch of yesterday, last night at least. So these are from Sprinters out at PyCon. Most of them, I assume. I guess it's possible there could be other folks working on it, but I think that's probably the majority of our uptick. And the first one I pulled up is this undebouncer, which was put in yesterday, but I didn't get to it. Let's see. Modification. Allows you to request current value of the debounced input. What does it look like? Or I think there's an example of its usage. Maybe not. So I know it takes a function. I would have assumed the function had to return true or false already. Is that not the case? Or predicate. Okay, so if the thing that came in has the attribute value, then set the function to lambda like creating a function, which is basically just going to return or predicate.value, which is true false. Else function just is equal to this directly. So then it's going to call the function. I guess could return, I mean, as long as it's either truthy or falsy, I suppose this works, which is everything. A lot of functions would return like a number, I guess, which is going to be true unless it's 0. It could be confusing if that's not what you're expecting it to do. Bound state, unstable state. Don't really get what this part is doing, why it has both of these. What is pipe? Pipe is like bitwise operator, is that right? Bitwise or. What does it do on just Booleans? threshold. Okay, interesting. The state starts out as x for 0, 0. Okay. Minor modification. How do we really restrict that, though? Because, I mean, let's imagine a function that returns a number. Like I said before, if it returns a number that's not 0, it's going to be true when it gets used here, or any time like this. I assume this probably happens inside update also. Oh, we're inside of update in this one, actually. This is the one up here I was looking at before. Let's look at it here, I guess. So unset, change state, new state is what got passed. Okay, if it's not none, no, if it is none, set the state to the value we get back from the function. So if we didn't pass anything, it's going to call the function. If we did pass something, it's going to convert whatever we passed to a Boolean. It's not equal to unstable state. Well, to get state, unstable state. Why does get state bits? Return state in bits not equals 0. I'm not super familiar with the way it's using bit math like this. I guess it's just storing a few different Booleans, basically. Value, I guess, will... Oh no, it doesn't call it. But it updates it always an update, and then value will return to you the current state. I mean, I guess we should document it. Probably. What does it say in the docs? Will IO our function to debounce? I'm pro documenting that the function should return a Boolean, but at the same time, I'm not sure we really have a technical way to prevent somebody from using a function that doesn't return a Boolean. All functions return something. Even if there's no return statement, it's going to return none, and none is going to get treated as false. I guess you could check... Is instance of the return f? So if f is a def f Why? What? Oh, it was still like inside of the first one. Gotta give it another blank line. It doesn't know that return is the end. Alright, let's do this here. Let's restart this. So right. That one printed the G, but not yes. I mean, you could, I guess, do is instance. F. You do the type first. False. I mean, I guess you could try to test it with this, and if the thing it returns is not a Boolean, then you know that it's not, I guess, valid, and you could raise an exception, but it's also kind of pushing the buck down the road some, because you could, I mean, the function could return a Boolean the first time you call it, or based on some other condition, and then later, because things have changed, return something that's not a Boolean. So you'd always have to be continually also testing the result to see if it's a Boolean. I think I'm in favor of technically just allowing it to work that way, but documenting it to say that the function should return a Boolean to be most easy to work with, basically. But I guess if somebody has a use case where they have a function that's returning numbers or whatever else it's returning, and they want to use it with this and it works, I don't see any reason to make it not work, really. It's probably, I would probably not try to use code written that way if I could help it. I would probably try to refactor it into a function that definitely returns a Boolean, but I don't know, if somebody else just likes it better that way and it's working, I don't see any reason to like strictly limit it. It does make typing harder, I guess, though, right? Because, well, not really, I don't know. Can we even declare, not sure we can declare what the function is expected to return. I mean, our own function that's inside our library, yes, but the function that's coming into us as an argument, I don't think we get to type like anything more specific about that function, do we? Does typing provide a way to like specify that function must take certain arguments or return certain types? I don't know enough about it to know if it does work like that, but I haven't seen anything like that. Of course, it's somewhat uncommon to take a function as an argument, I suppose, on most of the code I've seen. I've been thinking about adding that to display button, though. I think it would be nice to be able to set a function on display button that will get called when it gets pressed. Let me look at it in line. I'm not signed in or something? Oh, I'm not signed in. I thought I signed in. What? Signed in. Almost positive I signed in. And I definitely did, because I distinctly, even still have the two-factor open. Yeah, I think, which I think Neradoc mentioned, maybe not in line like this. Yeah, it doesn't show in line. I think though what Neradoc said, right, is it doesn't have to be digital. It's doc-stringed as digital I/O, which is actually more restrictive than it is, right? This says digital in out or function when really it can work with other things too. Touch I/O, anything that has a value. Helper note or name. Link. How's it going, C. Grover? Note or name. Oh, note, def note or name. Note to name. Would that be typed? Multiple types. Note or name. Note to name. Note or name. Translates MIDI sequential note value to a note name or a note name to a sequential value. Note names are of integer type. So it can either take a string or a int. So I think it would be. Boy, that's ugly, huh? So for input, I think this would be like union. You can use union. Oops, not. We want square brackets, union, square brackets, and then the types. String int. And union gets imported from typing. Import union. And return also, because this one basically converts back and forth, so the return is also same thing. Union, string int. I don't know, the order probably doesn't matter. You could do int string. I think that's how it would go. Yeah, for sure. You're welcome. Out of coffee. What actually did Neradoc say? Note that describe the description. Yeah. Electric. Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if the protocol is worth adding to CircuitPython typing. Interval ticks. Ticks over ticks per second. Not sure. Yeah, why is the... What is ticks per second? 1000. Interval ticks? Ticks per second is 1000, so these are milliseconds basically. When you get it, you get a float, but when you set it, you pass a float. It's kind of converting it back to an int basically by timesing it by 1000 if you... Doesn't have to be super small though, right? It can just be very large decimal, like 0.333333, like 4 threes or something? 5 threes? 4 threes. But I guess if this is 0.3 of a millisecond, it doesn't really matter that much, I suppose. What do we get out of it though, too? Like, what does it really change? Did they mention anything about that part? The ints? Didn't really mention anything about the ints. Yeah, that is what we do. Where was I over predicate? Yeah. Be a bool directly? I don't know. Oh, this is the way, maybe what I was talking about earlier. Interesting. We do, looks like. I mean, I assume that's arguments and returns. This one is inside button, yeah. Does it use... Does it work the same? Well, I guess because it extends button, it works the same. Just passes pin as IO or predicate, is that right? We take pin, and we pass pin up as the first argument. Yeah. Yeah. We do want to keep it the same, I think. Realistically, I guess this probably should have been called IO or predicate also. I don't know if it's worth changing after the fact, maybe. It's not a keyword arg at least. So it's less likely, hopefully, that folks are calling it by name in their own code. The eyes that are typing in here look uppercase to me. Interesting. Can't really see the dot at the top of them. I think maybe I had some bigger. Wish there was a save button. I know it saves without it, but I don't think that's any different. Hmm. How's it going, Keith? Pretty good. Pretty good. This one was from yesterday, one of the sprinters out at PyCon. But I didn't get to it yesterday. So I'm kind of picking up where we left off. This one's on debouncer. One kind of makes me want to make... What this one's making me think about is display button, honestly. It's making me want to put a property called value on display button, which I don't think it has. It has one that's called selected, I think, which works the same, if I recall. No. Well, kind of. Selected also is responsible for changing the color, changing the appearance. Does not have a value. This almost makes me want to add a value to that so that we could just pass it directly into here. You could still do it because of the way this sticks functions. You could wrap it in a function that returns the right thing, but... Yep. Should have none. Yep. None on that one too. Yeah. I don't know why sometimes these don't autofill, but like GitHub still knows this person exists, right? This pop-up is showing them, but it didn't want to autocomplete. Sometimes it does. It's not really a trick, I guess. Using a not function, exception. Okay, I think we got all the spots in that one. Oh, I should have kept that one. Thanks on a good chunk of today to review PRs as well. My grade knocked me out yesterday, so I'm slowly catching up. Oh, that's a bummer. Sorry that happened for you yesterday. Cool though. What else? Oh, it's from a while back. Discord. Let's see, what do we got here? Did I look at this one yesterday? I don't remember. Yeah, okay. Oh, right. Okay, we had this one where it was variables. More typing. So one thing it is failing actions. Let's take a look. Check formatting. It needs pre-commit, basically. It needs black run. It's up to date. Usually there's a refresh here if it's not up to date. Probably. Well, I guess this was already there. We're not looking at a single commit, are we? No, it doesn't look like it. I wonder if maybe this would be worth using readable buffer or writable buffer from CircuitPython typing. Not sure why this changed to be before. By address or string, but not both. So before it put address bytes to none, it put underscore string to none. Then it did the check. And then it said, if address, do this stuff. elif string, which is basically the same as else because we would have raised if not. And set this. So yeah, I think the logic is the same, right? Say if string was none, but address wasn't, this won't raise. String would get set to none. This stuff would happen. This stuff wouldn't happen. Yeah. And the other way, if address was none but string wasn't, then this will get set to a real value. Address is none, so this won't happen. And this will happen. Well, this is gone, obviously, but string will be set already from up here. Okay. I don't know. I don't have much of an opinion one way or another, I guess. To the extent I have opinion, I think I like it maybe the old way before. The old way better, rather. But it's very minor. And really the main reason is because this if statement conveys the either or meaning better to me, then this feels one-sided. Like you're setting string even if it's none, but then going on to do the address thing. Like the logic works out right, but this way makes it more clear that it's either or to me personally when I read it as I sit right here right now. But it's also not like that, not that different, and you can definitely reason it out the same still. This might be why black is mad, actually. Stuff like this. I mean, I know black does do things like this, so depending on the line length, and it did fail for black. I think I mentioned this on my comment already. I think we probably leave these things out for right now. So this should be optional. Okay. Yeah, I can return none here. And here. Probably have to clone this locally and look more into this one. The only one I'm not really sure about, well, I guess first two I would say I'm not really sure about. We'd have to find list of bytes. Yeah, okay, that seems to match. Prefixes. Where does prefixes get used? Kind of have to maybe look around for where these are used or where they get called from, which is a little tougher to do in GitHub because of the way it folds. Prefixes. You could maybe go look at the type for this one. I do optional float here, even though this one is not actually having default none. I did mention this on the other one, yeah. .86. I wonder where .86 of common. Where does connection come from? Would also be easier to find locally. So I think this is not returned. Okay, I mentioned this one yesterday. This. Yeah. So we'll basically make it do the check that's here. Seems good. I guess this is Blinka, not microcontrollers, so we don't do the try accept? Not sure, I'd have to look at some others. Yeah, I don't think we can do these things. Oh, no. Well, these aren't, yeah, never mind. These aren't typing a variable. These are basically making the protocols or whatever. I don't know if they're technically protocols, but... Oh, it's interesting. Sometimes it's a list, but sometimes it's a tuple. I guess technically it could be union, list, and tuple. Not necessarily sold that it should be for sure, though. I feel like there's not quite enough difference to make it worth the extra code, but maybe it is. I'm not sure. Data dictionary. That's interesting. Wonder why that would have changed. I don't really know enough about it, but I'm unsure about why this would have gotten removed. And I guess this part of it is a string. This part of it is actual code. I don't know why it's the only place where it's at. Probably would have to defer to Dan or Melissa. Not sure who, or maybe both of them worked on Blinka BLE stuff. I don't know what that is for, or if it is alright to just delete it. Let's see. Okay. There's still more stuff in that one, and it's still in draft anyway. I don't know. They may come back to it today or some other time. We get this one yesterday? I think we did, yeah. Victor got this one yesterday. Nice. Pulse oximeter. Oh, IBBQ. That's the one I looked at yesterday. Bluetooth. Something else too? Was there a light one we did? Magic light or something? Oh. Yeah. Makes sense. Well, I guess let's check. Is bus IO needed? Maybe bus IO is needed. File was that in? I mean, if it is needed, though, it should just come out of the try block altogether. No. Only place it's used is typing. Okay. That one too. There's the third one. Manager. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Then. On me. Oh, this is from earlier today. That's for imported protocol. I thought there was talk of putting, like, of archiving this one or something. Putting some kind of warning. I don't know, I don't think it's officially supported really anymore. We'll go 065. So I think basically the gist of this is that it came with, yeah, typing extensions, so it got moved. Try to get it from typing, which I guess would start working in 3.8. I have 3.8 actually. I was going to try and run it, but 3.7 you could import it from this. Got removed from here and added that way. This is another one I wonder if it would make sense to put in typing, CircuitPython typing, instead of here, because I think there's a bunch of other places where we have like generically a strand of NeoPixel devices or dot stars that can be used for the same thing. It's kind of beyond this change though. Oh, we got merge conflicts now though. Probably, I don't know if I have this library. It's fairly likely that I don't, but maybe from doing like another PR. Nope, doesn't look like it. Yeah, I guess I could try to do it in the GitHub interface. I've never actually used the GitHub interface for it. What does it look like? Yeah. I mean, I could probably do that, but I feel like I'm way less likely to mess it up using the kind of crutches inside PyCharm. Like, PyCharm makes this super easy. There'll just be arrows to look at left and right, kind of. Instead of, like, actually manually modifying the code, like copy-pasting lines and stuff. Deleting lines and all that. In this case, it's not actually too bad, but I know that I trust myself. CircuitPython typing? Yeah, Pixel, I think for sure. I had the LED-based things. LED Pi in that package. It added the LED-based things. Yeah, it probably could have gotten done before. I wouldn't be surprised if it was done before that one existed over there. The LED ones. Because I think, like, at a minimum, I think the other Wi-Fi manager, like ESP32 Spy Wi-Fi manager, also has a way to encapsulate the status pixel. I don't know if there's typing in that library yet, or if so, how it's done. But I know that's at least one other spot where NeoPixels are used. LED animation also too, I guess. Can take equally NeoPixels and dot stars. Let's see here. Oh wait, we don't need to do it this way. I need to actually go... Oops. No classes use values similarly, makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, I think that was actually a more recent addition to debouncer. I feel like I recall the PR for that one going by maybe like sometime in the last year, where it could use functions like that. Before that, I think it was more pins, but touch IO and stuff like that still worked, I think. The function thing actually makes it really versatile, though. We should add an example. Name of this one? "37 protocol." 37 protocol. Or 37. So we should, I mean, main should be updated right now, right? Oh, come on, we don't want that. Just pull it again anyway. Just cloned, yeah. Okay, so we want basically both. Okay, well, we still ended up doing some deleting. Okay, I think it's right like this. I really like being able to have this view of it as well to help me try to make sure I'm not actually gonna break something. Alright, I'll wait for this to hopefully pass pre-commit, which I should have checked before I ran it, or pushed it, but... Oh, that's a bummer. Oh well. What did it do? Extra line. Worth a try. Would have thought to look there for NeoPixel stuff. So behind on the typing PRs and knowing what's changed from them. Yeah, it does change quickly. It does change quickly. We've added a few of those protocols in that CircuitPython typing. But it is like brand new, I think, like within the last month or two at the most, I think, is when we really started shifting to putting them in there. And it's sometimes it makes sense not to add them to there if it's like a protocol that's only used in one library, then it kind of makes sense to live inside that library, but some of them are used in multiple places. And so it's helpful to have them in a central place so we have a single spot to update. I'll wait for this one to actually hopefully pass. So this would link me to GitHub further up. I think we can just leave it. Yeah, we'll test it. I mean, honestly, we could wait for Jerry to come back too. I can test some of it, but Jerry's setup has definitely got a lot more permutations he is set up to test a lot more permutations than I am. I can test like I have radio featherwings. I actually have Arduino ones too because they ended up sending me Arduino ones a couple of times by accident. I ordered them from DigiKey. Try setting those ones up with Arduino. I don't know. I don't have as much patience for Arduino stuff, truthfully. I could give it a try, but if it starts not working very easily, then I tend to give up. I've never done anything with it from Raspberry Pi either, which I think maybe Jerry has. Oh, nice. That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely test it. Oh, this is yeah, actually I don't know how typing is treated. We'll test this as well. We'll build the we'll build that to make sure it fits. Yeah. No, that's cool. We'll do that. We'll definitely do that. Let's see. I think we don't need to worry. Whoa. All right. What else was there? So MyPy checks. Yeah, I think we don't care about MyPy checks for now, and we care about them eventually, but we don't need to work on suppressing them right now. Are they center justified or something? Sorry, this is not. You all can't see this. The eyes are really throwing me off. I did end up updating my Firefox in order to be able to log into Google. Even though I was already logged into Google on a different account. I don't feel like the eyes were like this before. The eyes, I just cannot see the dot. And it's really wigging me out a bit. I don't know if the default font changed or if I did something in the settings on the old version, or maybe I just need to restart it, because I did go change the font. I don't know if it affects this or what, but it really calls my eye to the fact that the eyes look like uppercase or L's. For some reason, it's super distracting to me now, and I never noticed it before, so I don't think it was like that in the old one. Testing, yeah, we'll definitely test. Testing, that was the other one. Oh, there's different ones of these. I don't know which ones I have. I just remember there's RFM 9X. There's also RFM 69 or something. Something else. There's two things with very similar names. One of them are like the long distance ones, and one of them are not. I guess let's just put I think have some of the hardware to test this on. Let's just say has more experience. He's more experience. Right justified. Oh, you're aiming for right justified. This is super nice to hear. Best first experience I've had with a project. I should have been writing these down, actually. I started a list yesterday. This ended up passing? Yeah. The format. Yeah. Pretty reviewed. Okay. I'll have to dig those out. I don't know exactly where they're at, but I will get those out sometime this week or next week in Ruthie.io. Take a look at this one 1 hour ago. Matt Land. Yeah, no, we want to keep it to save memory. If MyPy complains about it, but it was done for a specific other reason, like we don't want to change it to please MyPy. MyPy doesn't know that we're running on microcontrollers, right? Like we've made choices to yeah, we've made choices to do stuff in somewhat obtuse ways for specific reasons in some cases. Palettes type is a callable? Not sure why palettes type would be callable. Reuse the reference to the callable. I'm not sure this is true though. I mean, I haven't looked into it. It's possible that it is. But I think when we add it to the tooling, we'll be able to configure it. And we should be able to configure it to only care about certain rules, right? If there are rules that were broken for a specific reason, I think we can configure it not to flag on those. That I assume we'll be able to, I guess. Maybe not think we can, but might get like that's kind of how we use pylint. And like reuse and some other stuff. I think there it's likely there will be configuration for it. Maybe there's not though. It's definitely a good discussion to have though. I'm still a little confused about why it can be a callable or a palette. I would have expected. I think Pixel Shader might be a different class than palette, and it could be either of those. I don't know what the case for a callable instead of a palette object would be, though. I don't know that I've looked inside of this library too much. I think I made one change in this library. This thing. Yeah. But I didn't really touch very much of the code when I made that change. And it is, I will say, it is wonky code, but it serves a very specific purpose of making the library work on boards that don't have long integer support. I think that's right. Basically, the boards that don't have long integer support, which there aren't that many, where you do display stuff on them, because most of the boards you do display stuff on are like M4 or bigger, and I think they have that turned on. But there are a few that don't, like Gizmo, TFT Gizmo for the Circuit Playground Express. Also, I think Halloween, the original one, is a M0. And I believe the actual device that I was using when I made this change was the Pew Pew M4, which is a SAMD51, but doesn't have something, the extra flash chip maybe, or as big of an extra flash chip or something. And I think doesn't have long int enabled for that reason, or for a reason. I'll say I'm pretty sure it's not enabled, and I don't really know the reason, but I suspect it's like not enough space or something, or not as much space. And this allowed it to work on those devices, but it is weird code. It's like refactored into a separate file in order to prevent it from running on those devices. Let's see. Yeah. There's already a protocol for pixels. Oh, nice. I've done that. I've done that type of thing before. Mine is usually for a while when I worked a lot more on Android. I spent a good chunk of time at one point answering stuff on Stack Overflow, answering Android questions on Stack Overflow. And then for years, like every now and then, I would come across a problem and search around about it and find an answer that I wrote and be like, oh, well, that's how to do that. Does this one easily go in LED? Did this one end up? It did end up already existing, or? Color-based LED and fill-based LED. Yeah, I think this would be good. Okay, at the top of this list, I don't know. Take a look through this one. I don't know. It's possible some fell through. They don't always come through the email the same way. Scan for new stuff first. What did I leave this in draft? These I think are both merged now, so this could probably come out of draft. I'll look at that later today. This didn't get updated today? Huh. Interesting. We closed this one yesterday, so I guess we're out of date by a day, so I'm probably not going to see any new ones. I guess these are both 0 day. Do this one yesterday? Yeah. Interesting. A second? Is this always behind a day? I don't know now. I don't know if this just runs in actions 12 hours ago. Daily reports. 12 hours ago was midnight. Thing. Or why that wouldn't have updated today. Maybe it's always a day behind. I don't recall ever actually looking at it. I don't know if we can have this one. Maybe, I don't know if this person is out at PyCon or working with Kattni. This library is tough to add to though, because it's frozen into the Circuit Playground Express build, and there is almost no space left. So there's like sometimes when new functionality it would be cool to have in this library, but it just can't because there's not enough room. In that specific case, right? Like other, you know, like if you wanted to make a custom build, you could turn other stuff off and make room for it, but I really need the eyes to go back. It is super distracting. It's like a very minor thing, but for whatever reason, it's actually really distracting to me when I'm typing in this. You know what I noticed is the eye in history looks fine, though. This one I can clearly, easily see the dot. But like here in it is just all these ones in here. I just cannot see the dot at all. And it is really wigging me out, kind of. Did I have a different font, maybe? I didn't change anything. Nothing's changing. Didn't get any bigger. They're way better now. I don't know that I want... That's a tough call though, right? Because like I also don't... I would like pages to be able to use their own font. I just want to be able to read the font and not get distracted by it. Is there a GitHub setting? It seemed like it was ignoring my browser setting until I did that change. Probably shouldn't do this over here, huh? Appearance, theme, color, emoji, tab size, markdown editor, font preference. Use fixed width. Doesn't have a size though. It's such a minor thing. I don't want to dwell on it too long, but honestly, it is really distracting to me. The eyes, like I cannot unsee them as capital I's and L's, and it is really throwing me off when I'm trying to write into the box there. What was it? It was on Deja Vu before? But it was not, it was allowing them to overwrite it. This didn't change actually. Doesn't look any different to me at least. 6? It's kind of weird. Maybe they're just very similar. Okay, you don't have to refresh. Although I bet if I refresh, this gets better. Or not. I don't know why this giant space is here. Maybe they just put new lines? Was it like that before? I don't know. Weird. Text only? That's a lot better. Okay, maybe we'll roll like this for a bit. See how it goes. Okay. We need them to run pre-commit, and then after they run pre-commit, I think we could try making a build for the CPX with that in it. Maybe it's a GitHub specific change. Yeah, I think it's probably GitHub had their font declared specifically in CSS somehow. That was like overriding the default, but of course like the browser ultimately has control because the browser is who decides what gets shown basically. So the browser, it had this other setting of like allow pages to choose their own. So if I turn this off, then GitHub CSS no longer has control as much. It would have been nice though for GitHub to not, for them to just make it account for the actual setting correctly. That would be the correct way in my opinion, but nobody at GitHub probably wants my opinion. I'm gonna catch up on the help with room here. I scrolled through this morning. I think I'm gonna head out for a bit and eat lunch. Probably be back around in the afternoon. We made it to the top of the list of this stuff. Okay. Oh, nope, we don't want to do that. There we go. I think we're caught up. The CircuitPython org page we'll have to keep an eye on. I'll check it again tomorrow, see if it still shows the second, or if it's just always maybe a day behind. I don't know if this works in CircuitPython. I've never seen it done like this, really, either, where all these are put in a dictionary. Yeah. Pulseo might be expecting faster stuff, I'm not sure. Okay. Like everybody pretty much has been helped out in there. Got NeoPixel? I think it is. Yeah. I was thinking NeoTrellis has a board.neopixel. One minute ago. Oh, okay. The initializer. Not like, well, I mean, it's still a function, I guess, but. Weird. Hmm. Why do we need to store the constructor as a function inside of? Well, these are local variables. Inside load. Ends up just passing them along. The individual ones. So what does it look like in BMP? Yes. Oh, let me catch up over here. At some point, can I ask about your workflow? You and Tektrik stay on top of everything, and I feel like I often fall behind. Yeah, you can always ask me anything about anything really, what I'm working on, or meta stuff about how I work or anything like that. I'm totally happy to share anything about that. Keeping up with issues and pull requests. I would say the two things that I do usually, well, so since I started working on Mondays, every Monday I will go through the email list here, which like some weeks it works better than other weeks, because if there have been a bunch of changes in that week, like, I mean, obviously there's 12,000 things in this list, so like I'm not gonna go through all 12,000, but I'll page through like the first couple of pages, maybe 2 or 3 pages, until I start seeing stuff that rings a bell from last week. So that will kind of get me through the new stuff. And like some of it, you know, it's like there's a lot of spam too, right? Like, you know, build failed, right? Like there's really nothing I need to do. I mean, in this case, I actually noticed it before it failed and fixed it, but like these get included, or like new releases like this get included. So like some of this stuff gets skipped. Like here's a whole chunk of releases. So I'll go through this list, and then I'll go through the list here, circuitpython.org, which is not quite saved in there yet, contributing. I'll go through this one, which I've gotten it down to where this one is mostly drafts, honestly. There's a few things that are not drafts in here that are just waiting for work. But most of the stuff in here is either a draft, is a PR that I did and therefore I can't review, which there's like this one I think I did, display button I did, although that one's a draft too, also, I think. Display button. Or just stuff that's not a draft that is open but just waiting for changes, like it didn't pass actions, or it just needs changes that have already been noted in a comment or whatever. That's basically where we're at on the ones that are open. So nowadays I'll look for the youngest ones, the least number of days, and try to hit those first when I do sit down and go through this list. Another place that's a little bit hit or miss, but I've found some days this is a pretty good place to go, is this notifications thing here. And in particular, like mentioned and participating. Mentioned, if you're in the CircuitPython librarians, then this will count as a mention if somebody does at CircuitPython librarians, I'm pretty sure. So you can see stuff in here. And then participating is like any one that you have already commented on. So I do come back to participating quite a bit and look for ones with new dates. So like, you know, this probably means like I probably commented on this yesterday and now there's a new comment 10 minutes ago. So it's like ready to check back in potentially. Or maybe this was our comment that we left a little bit ago. No, that was an hour, but there was a thumbs up from this person. And so notifications, I will say it's a little more hit or miss. Like there's also review requested, which you can look at, but it doesn't clear them out, right? Like a bunch of these are merged or closed and therefore not, like there's nothing further that needs to be done. I think at one point I went through and like tried to clear these, but I don't keep up with it, so they end up just rebuilding up. Definitely ebb and flow. I feel like I have weeks where I'm MIA with other things. Works best for me is just set time aside and do it all at once, but for others that's probably what they think of as crunching. Yeah, I've Reddit and Python Discord stuff I also keep track of, so maybe just add a natural saturation. Yeah, that definitely could be. I'm going to keep CircuitPython as high priority. I'm hoping to go through a lot of the sensors documentation and improve that this year. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I would say like, I mean, it changed a bit for me starting this year. Prior to that, I was more likely on a random just evening, or even sometimes during the day if I didn't have something else going on for my other job. I was more likely to jump in and do a couple, like one or two here or there, just fit it in where I could. But then now spending like all day Monday on it, you know, obviously I'm less likely to do anything more Monday night. The evenings in general, truthfully, I don't do as much CircuitPython stuff in the evenings as I did before I started doing full-time Mondays. But it does like, I mean, it is a balance with everything else, right? Like you're interested in all the things you're interested in, and like there is still only a finite amount of time in the day. And you definitely gotta like not, you know, try not to burn yourself out on it too. That's something I'm pretty diligent about, is like not like if I start to get to the point where it's not enjoyable anymore, then I definitely like pump the brakes quite a bit and give it some time and then come back to it kind of refreshed and not feeling like that anymore. And then beyond, like being able to stay on top of that and manage it makes it so that when I am in it, and I do it a little bit more like Tech Trick nowadays, where like when I do get in, I will go for like a bunch of hours, and just go through the whole list and do all of them all at once, everything I can find. And and then like as long as I do like pull back a bit when I start feeling burnout a little bit, it helps it to where I can do that, and actually it's just like enjoyable. I just like working on it. It serves as a not like I'll throw a stream or something else to watch over on the side, and just kind of like not like fully focused, you know, zoned in, head down, not paying attention to anything, but kind of like split attention, but still working on it diligently for a couple hour chunks at a time. Yeah. Yeah, it's a tricky balance. And I mean it depends like what else is going on in your life, and it depends on like what else is going on in the world, right? Like there's a lot of burnout of a lot of things in the world because the world has been crazy for a few years now. And it's tricky to manage. I definitely don't I feel like I have a decent grasp on it, but there are, you know, there are days where it's better or worse for me for sure. Like there are days where I'm just like, you know, I'm gonna, you know, just chill out and play games or something, right? Like especially like I don't know if I've ever talked to you about like your day job or anything. If your day job is programming though, there's days the programming I do for CircuitPython is a lot different than the programming I do at my other quote unquote day job. And so there are days where like whatever I work on during the day at work is like so different from whatever might need to be done in CircuitPython land, where I can just like change and do CircuitPython programming for the rest of the night and not get burnt out on it. But there are some days where like just depending on what I did during the day, where I'm just like I don't want to look at code or think about code or anything for the evening, and I'll just chill and play games or something instead. Dedicated time is a good, yeah. I find that like the streaming helps me, honestly. I find I'm a little bit more focused in streaming. I guess it's probably because I don't watch as much on the other stream. I kind of split my attention if I'm not streaming, but if I'm not streaming, then I'll be watching, kind of, you know, subconsciously watching something over there. But when I'm streaming, I'll put music on, but I don't usually watch whatever's going on over there. But streaming, I do find, like, since I started that, it was a while ago when I started on Saturdays, I found that it provides a nice, like, rhythm. Like, every week I just know Saturday at 10 a.m. I'm going to sit down for a couple hours and work on CircuitPython. Um, and that, having that kind of, like, weekly cadence of, like, a good chunk of time helps out. And especially streaming, like, you can get, one of the really cool things about streaming is you can get live feedback from people. So, like, there are times where I would be stuck, but instead somebody in the chat can help me out, and then I'm unstuck and I can actually keep going rather than like getting distracted and having to go on to something else. Thanks for the perspective and workflow. Yeah, for sure. With that, I'm a mech engineer, mechanical engineer in the day job. Do a fair amount of software still. It's definitely a change of pace. Yeah, I need to stream again. Got a lot more done when I streamed. Yeah, that was one of the things I found is like my productivity is definitely a little higher streaming than not, generally in terms of just like what I get done. But there are days like I don't feel like it, and I'll just work on stuff and watch stuff, and that's totally fine too. I think too. Right. Okay. So yeah, this one will just use fill based instead of pixel. Yeah, I like it. I do want to get this. Oh, the checks failed. I didn't notice. What does it say? Undefined variable? Did we lose another, Oh, I think you cut this one accidentally as well. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Oh no, I can't. Why? Okay, there we go. Let's see. I do kind of still want to do something else. I've been doing a lot of PRs. I think it would be nice to take... Well, I think we hit the bottom of the list for the most part. There's a few maybe older ones I could go back and check in on again, but look like we were out of new ones. The main thing I do want to do is like stay super on top of anybody who might be out at PyCon, because if they're there only for today, like we want to get them feedback if we can. Okay, yeah, now this one's passing. Okay, so we could test this out. I think I'll do it a little while later, though. I'm gonna play with Snake for a minute. So I made this implementation of Snake the other day for Katney to be able to show people on the PyGamer. Or PyBadge, maybe. I don't know which one she has. It's the camera. Oh, did I close it? Oh, no, there it is. Whoa. I feel like the camera view is like washed out more than it was before. I don't know why the version of Firefox would do that. So I'm not sure if it's actually the case or what. I got this Snake game. I think what I want to do is, and it shouldn't take too long. It'll be a nice little bite-sized other thing to do. I want to make it, I want to make it speed up the bigger your snake is. Oh, sorry. Hopefully that wasn't too loud. So right now, well, actually I did speed up mine to 1/4 second. I think the one I pushed in the repo is at 1/2 second. Maybe what we do is start at 1/2 second and then step down from there. Can I get the length? Did I implement length on Snake? I should do that if not. I need to practice using the Dunder stuff. You can do so much cool stuff with those. And I have only scratched the surface of understanding all of it, but I should make a point to like always implement the ones of those that make sense. Where is, we want Snake helpers. Oh, I have size. Really though, the more Pythonic way would actually be length, I think, right? Maybe I'll keep size. I don't know. Did I use it anywhere? In the score? Maybe I would feel bad if somebody like started hacking away at it and used size themselves and I broke it by getting rid of it. Maybe I'll leave it and just change it to use length in my code. It still work though, right? This should still work the same. Whoops, wrong one. Much slower because I did bump it to 0.5. Can you make a ball? Oh, it does still run into yourself. It's interesting that you can run into yourself at size 4. Because it actually kind of implies that your size kind of sort of behaves like 5. Because if you did have exactly 4, the head would not be able to touch the tail because the tail should move up to the next one. So on 4, you should actually just be able to go in a circle, a square in this case, but I don't know if it's worth fixing. I've really thought about it before. Did still put the right number though, 4, so that is still working fine. So why don't we go inside the game when we update. So where do we actually end up eating the apple? I think it's in here. So let's go inside of here. We're not paused. Maybe we should just put it right inside of here, actually. I think maybe we cap it at 0.1 is the fastest. I don't know that we want to go any faster than that. We should maybe play it at 0.1 actually and just make sure it doesn't get too crazy. Oh, that's real fast. Definitely feels like a good hard mode though. It's not uncontrollable. Nope. Oh yeah, it's quite a bit harder. There we go. Oh, okay. I think that's good though for like after you've played for a bit. So maybe we start at 0.5 and then we just so let's go 0.5 minus, oh, let's see, 0.1 times, not quite just the length by itself, but maybe the length over 2 or 3? I'm gonna use F strings more. Oh, it actually ends up starting on 0.4. Maybe that's a little bit too aggressive on how fast it speeds up. So we're already at max speed. So first, I guess let's put this on 0.6 because it will automatically go down by 1 from the beginning. So this will actually end up making us start on 0.5. And then I think maybe we try also 3 instead of 2. So every 3 times you grow, it'll speed up. Around 0.5. Still on 0.5. Still on 0.5. This one we go up though. Yeah, to 0.4. Well, it's actually down, I guess, but faster. The garbage collector pauses it. I wonder if we could use caching to not be making allocations. Assume that's the garbage collector. Of course, also I'm looking at the camera feed. I should probably look at the actual screen to know that for sure. Maybe it's just a buffering issue between either on the phone camera or between the phone camera and my browser. That could be a problem. So maybe it's not actually doing that live. Nope. Mine is a little bit more forgiving than some oh no, oh we made it, wow. Some implementations, they make you lose if you hit the wall. And mine actually doesn't, it will just pause. You can just wait here forever. $31. I think that's pretty good though. Gets faster. Copy that? Nope. I'll pause, yeah. I thought about maybe doing, you go through the walls like Pac-Man or asteroids. I don't know, it might get more complex. I'm not sure. Right now I just have a list of locations basically for the tiles in the snake. We could probably actually not print. Okay, so we did length, and here's the only change. Oh, right, I actually added these to start at size 3 instead of 1. Okay, so there's a couple of different tweaks. Actually, it looks like I started to commit and never did. Okay. That was a fun little side thing, though it isn't PRs and stuff. That's another thing I would say that's good to do is like if you have little fun projects that are like related but not, you know, just like it's more fun to play with the Snake game than it is to look over typing PRs or something, right? Like typing PRs are cool and I learn a lot and stuff, but like Snake is just fun. You have fun projects like that, sprinkle in little times to work on that as well. It's a bit of a little refresher. I think I'm gonna head out though for now and get some lunch. I'll be around the rest of the day as well. I got today off specifically because PyCon's going on, and I knew the sprints were ongoing and stuff with new folks potentially doing the types, so I am off today, and I'll be around. I may pop the stream back on in the afternoon. I'm not for sure, but possibly. I will be getting back into going over the PRs like that BLE one I just mentioned to this guy and this person in the Discord. But yeah, what is this? Link to CPython docs. Module. Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right. I will cut it off here, and thank you, Keith and Tektrick, anybody else who's watching. Thank you to all you folks. Definitely also I'll say thank you again to all the folks at PyCon working on types. It's amazing to see all the new contributors. I'll try to put a list together, I think, for Hug Reports next week, so go back through and save some of the names. But yeah, thanks to everybody, and I'll catch you next time.